Welcome aboard the Strange Express. My name is Dr. Scherzo Stantio. Today's journey takes us to the land of fairy tales. I'm sure you're familiar with many fairy tales, but you may have not heard this one before. Today we'll meet a character named Lazy Jack, not to be confused with Jack and the Beanstalk or Jack the Giant Killer. We'll learn more about Lazy Jack in just a moment. So please, take a seat, your own preferably, as the engineer has just signaled that we're about to be on our way. Many years ago in the 1600s, there lived a boy. Well, maybe boy is not entirely accurate, as he was in his 30s. Anyway, his name was Lazy Jack. Actually, that wasn't his name, but that's what everyone called him. Well, not everyone. Some people call him other names, but I can't get into that now, as I want to keep this story family friendly. To keep it simple, we'll just call him Jack. Jack lived at home with his widowed mother. They were very poor. They were so poor that when they walked down to the lake, the ducks threw bread to them. They lived in a rundown 2-room cottage, and their only source of income was the money that the mother earned by spinning. And spin she did. Some say she spun like a top, earning a few pennies for them to survive. It seems that there are people in those days who'd pay cash to see someone spin.
Excuse me, sir. I don't mean to interrupt your amusing story, but I don't think you know what spinning is. Have you ever heard of a spinning wheel?
Oh, hi Jack. Which is exactly what you're doing to my story. Of course I've heard of a spinning wheel. What goes up must come down. Now go away, kid. I don't need you round. I'm talking about your troubles. It's a crying sin.
No, you still don't get it. A spinning wheel is a mechanical device that was used to twist fibers together to form string or yarn.
Yeah, well you spin your yarn and I'll spin mine. And I like my version better. So go back to your basement and play your video games.
I live in the 17th century, so I don't know about video games. The only games I know are knucklebones and noughts and crosses, and neither one of those are particularly interesting. Also, I live in a 2-room cottage, and we don't have a basement.
That's tough luck, kiddo. Now go away. If you have any more problems, just do like the constipated mathematician. Get a pencil and work it out. Now, back to my story. Apparently all the spinning made Jack's mother a bit dizzy, so she ended up being the sole provider for herself and Jack, who did nothing to earn his keep, and only laid around the house. His only occupations were creating shadows in the summer and making himself a heat barrier in front of their meager fireplace in the winter.
Hey, I'm just waiting for the government to create the universal income.
In the 17th century?
I'm patient.
And speaking of patience, as dingy as she was, Jack's mother finally ran out of hers and gave Jack an ultimatum. She told him that if he did not find a job and help pay his fair share, she would toss him out to fend for himself.
I was so angry that I almost ran away from home.
What stopped you?
I was afraid she had changed the law.
Jack saw that he had no choice. He had to go find work somewhere. Finally, Jack found a farmer who was willing to hire him and paid him with a shiny new penny. As he had never had money before, Jack cheerfully went on his way home, clutching the shiny penny in his hand to show his mother. But he slipped and fell while crossing the river on his way back home. He lost his grip on the coin in his fall, and the coin floated down the swiftly flowing river. Jack tried to catch it and chased the shiny coin, reflecting in the sun as it flittered down the river for nearly a mile, but it finally disappeared into deep waters.
Well, you have to admit, I know how to make a little money go a long way.
So Jack returned home with nothing to show for his labor and nothing to contribute to the household expenses. His mother was furious and berated Jack for his lack of foresight.
I believe that's what you'd call a euphemism.
Furthermore, she admonished Jack that he should have put the coin in his pocket.
Alright already, don't rub it in. I'll put it in my pocket next time.
Fortunately, Jack received an opportunity to redeem himself soon, as the farmer had much more work for Jack. Jack explained to the farmer that he had lost a penny that he'd paid him on his way home. So this time the farmer paid Jack with a pitcher of milk. Try as he may, though, Jack could not get the pitcher of milk to fit into his pocket, and spilled all the milk while trying, and even broke the pitcher long before he reached home. His mother was beside herself, and both of them chided Jack for his ineptitude.
I think she insulted me. She told me that I should have carried it on my head, as it's flat, and should be able to carry additional weight.
Jack went back and worked for the dairy farmer the next day and told him of his experience with the pitcher of milk and how he'd spilled it.
But I didn't cry over it.
That's another story. Please limit your interruptions to allusions pertinent to this story.
Huh?
The farmer, being a kind man, decided to pay Jack cream cheese, hoping that it would make it easier for Jack to reach home with his wages. Alas, it was not to be. Jack placed a loaf of cream cheese on his head and covered it with his cap as he started on his journey home. Even though dusk was approaching, the late afternoon sunshine was still warm enough to start the cream cheese to melt. And before Jack could reach home, it was almost completely melted, and Jack's hair was matted with the melted cream cheese. It was a disgusting mess that no one would want to eat. Again, Jack's mother was infuriated.
She said that she preferred her cream cheese without dandruff.
I know, some people are picky like that. Nevertheless, Jack's mother upbraided him and told him that he should have carried it carefully in his hands, and Jack promised he would do so. Next time. Next day, Jack went back to the farmer, but the farmer didn't have any more work for Jack. Then he told Jack that he heard that the baker was looking for some help. So Jack went to the baker, and the baker agreed to let Jack work for him. While the farmer had been very nice with Jack, the baker was not so easy to please. And at the end of the day, the baker decided to pay Jack with a big, scrawny, stray tomcat who slunk around the back door of the bakery, hoping for a handout, and occasionally knocking over trash cans trying to find something to eat.
I told him I did not want the cat, and hoped he'd pay me cash. I only worked for the baker because I needed the dough.
What did the baker say to that?
He said that was an old joke even in the 17th century.
So Jack took the cat, and good to his word, carried it carefully in his hands and headed for home. The cat was not used to being carried, and soon he began to get finicky in Jack's hands.
I was thinking of naming him Morris.
It wasn't long before the cat tried to scratch Jack, and eventually bit him on the nose, which caused Jack to drop the cat, who immediately ran away. Jack arrived home again, empty-handed. He did not want to tell his mother what had happened, but of course it was plain as the nose on his face, which was somewhat swollen due to the cat bite. Eventually he had to let the cat out of the bag, which is not a choice of expression, as Jack neither had a cat nor a bag to let it out of. Again, Jack's mother rebuked him for his lack of resourcefulness.
You know, it sounds a lot nicer when you explain it than when she said it.
Jack's mother told Jack that he should have borrowed some twine or rope and tied it to the cat like a leash and pulled it along after him. Jack agreed that this would have been a wiser course of action and promised he would do so next time. Next day, Jack was able to get work with a local butcher. At the end of the day, the butcher rewarded Jack for his labors with a nice big leg of lamb. Jack took the leg of lamb and, remembering his promise, tied a length of butcher's twine to it and pulled it along with him on the ground all the way home. Naturally, by the time he got home, the leg of lamb was totally ruined and unfit to eat. To say that Jack's mother was disappointed would be an understatement. She screamed at Jack that she was at the end of her rope.
I told her that it was actually the leg of lamb that was at the end of the rope.
Did that help?
No, she lambasted me.
Finally, she told Jack that he should have just carried the leg of lamb on his shoulder, and Jack again admitted that her suggestion seemed to be sound, and that he would keep it in mind next time. Since the farmer had shown Jack the most kindness, he went back to him to see if he had more work for him, and indeed the farmer did have more work for Jack. When the end of the workday came, the farmer rewarded Jack's labors with a jackass. As Jack eyed the animal, it occurred to him that there would be no way that he would be able to fit the beast in his pocket to carry it home. Next he thought about putting it on his head, and he tried, but he's unable to balance the animal on his head, and it kept falling off. Next, he recalled his experience with the cat, and he found some rope and tied it around the jackass's neck and started to walk home. But the large animal would not budge. Tug as he may, Jack was not able to get it to move an inch. Finally, exhausted from tugging on the rope, Jack sat down to rest. While he was resting, he remembered about the leg of lamb, and he knew that he had struck upon the solution. He got up and reached around the belly of the animal, and with tremendous effort lifted it up and put it on his shoulder and started off once more for home. And as it happened, Jack's way home took him past the mansion of a very rich man. The rich man lived there with his daughter. It was a very solemn household, as 5 years earlier, the rich man's wife had passed away. The rich man's daughter had been especially close to her mother, and had been unreconcilable after her mother's death. In the last 5 years, the girl had not spoken, or laughed, or even smiled since her mother had died. The rich man had summoned wise men and medical experts throughout the kingdom, but to no avail. Most of them told the rich man that the great shock of her mother's loss had caused her condition, and she might get over it with time, but otherwise, her condition may never change. As the years went by, the rich man was saddened as he watched his beautiful daughter sit in a chair by the window, looking out with an emotionless stare each day. So as it happened, she was seated in her normal perch by the window looking out when she saw Jack stumbling down the road, a jackass on his shoulder, with his legs kicking up in the air. A small smile crept over the girl's face. As Jack got nearer to her home, she was able to see the sight even better. She started to laugh. Not knowing what the sound was, her father thought something was wrong and came into the room to check on the girl. But by the time he got there, it was plain that she was laughing, and she pointed out the window at Jack struggling with the jackass on his shoulder. Her father did not find the sight nearly as amusing as his daughter, but having lived in this kingdom for many years, knew that there was no accounting for taste, as he didn't understand why people were willing to pay others to spin either, as all you ended up with were dizzy people, and he thought people were already dizzy enough. But I digress. The rich man went out to Jack and convinced him to put the jackass down and come into the house to meet his daughter. Since Jack needed a break anyway, he agreed to do so. So the rich man brought him into the mansion and introduced Jack to his daughter. It's likely that you've already guessed the daughter's name, but perhaps not. Her name was Bertha. Jack and Bertha hit it off immediately, and in fairy tale fashion they were married, and Bertha's father bought them their own mansion, which included a mother-in-law suite where Jack's mother lived, and he also provided Jack with a generous stipend.
I told you I was patient.
And as all fairy tales go, they lived happily ever after. Now, every good fairy tale has a moral. This particular tale has several morals. The first one is that while it's good to listen to others for advice, it's also good to keep in mind that there's no one-size-fits-all solution, and we should exercise our critical thinking, if we still possess it, for the best solution to the problem at hand. Another moral could be, if someone is afflicted and the doctors and so-called experts can offer no hope, you can rely on the fact that they probably don't know Jack. Finally, a third moral that one might glean from this story is that people that walk around carrying their ass on their shoulders shouldn't be surprised if someone laughs at them. Well, it looks like we're quickly coming up on your station. Odd, that's how it seems to work out each time. I hope you've enjoyed our little excursion, and come back again for another trip on the Strange Express. Who knows where our journey will take us next time? I certainly don't. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy rails to you. Ha ha ha.